What's going on, everyone? I am very excited today because we get to play one of my favorite deck lists from set 2, and a deck list that competes with Han Green for one of the best, if not the best, Krayt Dragon decks, mid-range ramp decks that are trying to get to Krayt Dragon and other similar haymakers to close out the game. But fortunately for us, Villainy is a little bit better set up for Krayt Dragon with the cards it has available, and so we got to talk about kind of what we got going on here and why Vader Green is so powerful. So before we do, I have a TCG play link in the description down below that if you use, you can go on and help yourself and help me out picking up some of those set 2 and set 1 cards. But let's talk Vader Green, and what we got going on here with this list. Now, some of you may see a lot of familiar stuff here. Well, it's Vader Green. We're going to have a lot of the same things that we saw in set 1. And heck, I even played a set 2 version of Vader Green, but that was really early on, even before the actual entirety of set 2 release. So we have some new cards, and well, I'm way better versed in actually what the meta is shaping up to be and what cards that we want to pay attention to. Of course, Vader is our leader, so we have that action to pay 1. If we played a villainy card this phase, we could deal 1 damage to a unit and 1 damage to a base. This allows us to get some extra damage out and kind of just get some value pings here and there. And I say ping as in deal 1 damage to something. That is what I refer to when I say pings. It's not super relevant. Realistically, the reason why we're playing Vader is actually because he's just a super powerful flip leader, one of the most powerful in the game. He is a 7 to deploy leader, 5/8, and on attack you deal 2 damage to a unit. It is really powerful. It's one of the reasons why he is a little bit better than Han in terms of value, sort of the mid to late game, because of the leader itself being such a powerful component to controlling the board and actually getting you to Krayt Dragons. There's not many leaders in the game that actually take over the board than, well, maybe if you want to consider like Emperor Palpatine stealing something, or like Jabba capturing something. Like, those leaders are obviously really powerful. Boba leveraging additional cards, but Darth Vader is up there with some of those powerful leader flips in the game, and that's going to help us control the board and get to our high value plays. Now, we are running ECL, but it's mainly for earlier plays to kind of keep the board under our control while we ramp up to our big plays. We have a bunch of stuff that you're used to in the earlier stages from set 1. We got things like Death Star Stormtroopers, Star Vipers, Super Laser Techs. Of course, we got a ramp. We have Escort Skiffs and Ularans to help us heal and control the board by ambushing. Imperial Interceptors to help us control the space a little bit more. Overwhelming Barrage, just one of the best, most powerful removal events in the entire game. Traitorous, a really nice card to kind of steal Super Laser Technicians in sort of the mirror match or any deck that's playing mid-range ramp type areas, but also really good against any sort of upgrade strategy as well. And then we get to the more expensive packages. We have Kylo Ren, Vaders, Palps, Rancors, Krayt Dragons, and Devastators. Kylo Ren here is a new addition to this list, and I really like it because it's still a 6 resource play that can be ECL'd out. And this insta-kills basically any leader in the game because it hits for 8. And so if they go, Gar Saxon flip, Ray flip, or whatever, you can ECL at Kylo Ren and actually just straight up kill it, which is really powerful. Vader's just extremely amazing. We've already seen how powerful Vader can be. Palpatine and Jabba are splitting the 8-drop slot. I've actually found Rancor to be a more powerful play because it sticks around and actually is able to control the board for longer because of the 9/9 body. But in some cases, Emperor Palpatine can be a little bit better because you have to hit multiple different units, and this kills multiple different units, whereas Rancor typically only kills 1. And then, of course, our finishers in Krayt Dragon and Devastator. These are the absolute haymakers of the deck and really just kind of close out the game. Krayt Dragon's really hard to deal with, oftentimes killing your opponent just by them dealing with it. And Devastator comes down as removal event, or kind of like an event, and a 10/10 body alongside it. The other cards that we have in our deck are kind of like grease pieces. They're trying to get us to the point where we can do all the stuff that we want to. A couple copies of Time Intervention for the later stages of the game when we want to, ambush out a Rancor or an Emperor Palpatine. 2 copies of Open Fire, a little bit of removal for specific targeted units and to help us claim things like Price on Your Head if we can't claim it with a unit. We have Star Vipers to help us heal, Resupplies to help us ramp, and a Silencer here as a 2-drop. I decided to go with Silencer over something like Gamorrean Retainer because I wanted one additional play set of cards that we could hit off of Darth Vader that'll help us kind of really shift the game in our favor. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is our sideboard, which is something that's a little bit new. And normally I don't have a sideboard, but now that we're into set 2, I feel like putting out sideboards is actually relevant since we kind of see what the meta is shaping up to be. The first thing in our sideboard, we have a couple copies of removals events. So we have Force Chokes and Open Fire, or 1 Force Choke, 1 Open Fire. This is to finish off the playset. And although I like Open Fire slightly more than Force Choke, even though Force Choke is cheaper, mainly because it doesn't make your opponent draw a card, which can be relevant when you're playing a mid-range deck, I do want another copy specifically for, well, a little bit more aggressive matchups. Disabling Fang Fighters, we've seen how powerful upgrades can be, and, well, gotta have some way to deal with them, and Traitorous isn't just enough sometimes. Pillages, 3 copies. Pillage is really excellent in the mid-range mirror, where your opponent's trying to ramp and you're trying to ramp. If you ramp into Pillages and take away your opponent's hand, that can really shift the game in your favor. It's also really good in the control matchups. Traitorous, to finish off the playset. Again, I've talked about how powerful Traitorous can be, and I put out many videos where this is just a one card win the game. It's insane. And then lastly, 2 copies of Relentless. This is mainly for the control matchups where we can go like Relentless into Devastator, Relentless into Krayt Dragon, and it makes it so your opponent basically cannot interact at all. And if you can't draw Krayt Dragons, Relentless is like a secondary win con in those matchups. So that's going to be the sideboard. That is going to be the overall deck. And let's dive into some games today. All right. And our first game is going to be an exciting one. We have the 2 Krayt Dragon Masters coming up against each other. This is a pretty bad hand. We have no turn 1 play. And we don't have like that amazing of ramp. This is a lot better. I like Traitorous because there are situations where it's going to be quite good. And I think I'm just going to resource both the escort skiffs here. So I'm going to go Death Star Stormtrooper turn 1, and then Price on your head on something over there, most likely. Let's see what they've got. They could have like Spark of Hope or something like that. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use the ability. I'm just going to claim initiative here. I was thinking about it. I clicked on it. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm actually not going to use it. I'm just going to claim initiative because they played a Battlefield Marine, which is easily killable by the Death Star Stormtrooper. They could ECL something out, and that's totally fine. If they want to use their ECL for that kind of purpose. I'm going to attack my base. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and trade with the Battlefield Marine, ramp a bit. They're going to resupply. We're going to claim initiative. And we are off to the races here. Kind of an awkward hand. I think we just pass here and see what they decide to do. If they do nothing, then that's fine. If they do something crazy, then maybe we have some sort of reaction to it. Star Viper, huh? Wow, that was like the perfect card. I mean, if there was like a card I wanted to see. Oh, and they're doing it again? What? Okay. I don't know if that was necessarily a good play from our opponent. They basically walked into my ping from Darth Vader. I think if they just deployed Han, I would have used the ping on Han. I think that was kind of like a mind game scenario where they probably should have done that instead. But I mean, hey, we got there, it looks like. Open Fire, looking kind of mediocre. I think I'll just resource the escort skiff. It's not looking that great in this spot. Let's just start off by attacking for 3 and seeing what our opponent decides to do. They're going to activate Han. Oh, okay. They're not. We're going to pass. We're taking a lot of damage here, but we are going to have the Darth Vader flip, and we could potentially recover. Our goal here is to try to take advantage of what they're playing and remove it or take control of it. So if they play like any 3 or less drop, I'm definitely Traitorsing it. In this spot, I'm just going to open fire the modded cohort. Just get rid of it. They're going to claim initiative. That's totally fine because now we are in a spot where we have a lot of options for us. I'm going to go ahead and resource this Traitorous. I think it's kind of lost its luster at this point. Plus, we can go face through Dark Trooper, Super Laser Tech, use Darth Vader's ping, and get a lot of value out that way. Let's see. They're going to go ahead and activate Han Solo. Reinforcement Walker. Okay. Reinforcement Walker's good. They're probably going to draw a card. I'm just going to attack for 3. Maybe. Hello? Attack for 3. Hello? Hello? Can I attack for 3? There we go. I was like, not working. They're going to attack for 3. We're going to flip Vader. They're going to take initiative, almost assuredly. We are going to... Ooh, interesting. So I can ECL out the Super Laser Tech. If I ECL out Super Laser Tech, I get an Overwhelming Barrage for 7. So I deal 5 here. I like ECLing out Super Laser Tech. Hit the Reinforcement Walker, Overwhelming Barrage, hit Reinforcement Walker, Han Solo, and we're going to deal 5 here. Or actually, we could do 3 here. 4 here. It doesn't really matter. And then kill both of these. And then we pass. And now we have kind of a nice situation going on for us. We could still deal with a Krayt Dragon if they do end up playing it. So that's kind of nice. And because of that, I'm actually going to keep the Open Fire around because I will trade Open Fire. Yep, there's the Krayt Dragon, as I had said. We're going to go ahead and play Imperial Interceptor. And then they're going to do that nonsense. And then we're just going to kill the Krayt Dragon, hit it for 6. And then, yeah, they can kill maybe like a Darth Vader or an Emperor Palpatine or whatever. Or just hit our base. That's also a possibility. But if they do that, then they're kind of in a little bit of trouble. So I don't know if I recommend doing that. But yeah, they have Krayt Dragon. We have Krayt Dragons. They had a little bit of an interesting draw. And we kind of had an awkward one. Where we had to like do all this nonsense and do a bunch of situations where we were trying not to play nothing. So we had to pass a lot of times because we had a lot of situational cards. Ewing Reinforcements is good, but it's not exactly that scary here, especially considering we have a Krayt Dragon. So depending on what they play here, I will just drop a Krayt Dragon, and hopefully that's going to be the way to win the game. Because remember, whoever gets a Krayt Dragon down first is usually pretty good. But that right there was a scenario where, that's why I say this deck might just be the best Krayt Dragon deck. It's because Vader could actually deal with Krayt Dragon in conjunction with other cards, where Han has a really tough time with dealing with Krayt Dragon ever. So, okay, they pick up a Sundari Peacekeeper and a Bright Hope. Really not that scary at all. Let's just go ahead and drop a Krayt Dragon. Drop a Krayt Dragon, and our opponent is going to be in a rough shape. So now if they decide to play something, they're going to be in a rough shape because they're going to just take a bunch of damage. We can even deal a couple damage to Sundari Peacekeeper or whatever, but Krayt Dragon, huge play here. I'm almost certainly going to attack their base here with Emperor Palpatine, just so that they can't really play anything that kills Krayt Dragon, although I'm not even sure what Han Solo could even play to deal with Krayt Dragon. Yep, we're just going to hit their base for 6, and then we're going to pass, and ooh, that's a Devastator right there. That's a pretty nice one. And that's game. So there you go. We literally had a Han Solo green first matchup in the mid-range ramp deck, and we beat it right off the bat. And that goes to show you kind of the difference of the two decks, right? We kind of ramped similar to them. They were able to get a Krayt Dragon early because that's what Han does, right? But because our leader is so much more powerful, alongside us being able to play things like Overwhelming Barrage for a lot cheaper, well, we were able to kind of come back because of our more powerful deck. And that's the difference. Han is a little bit just faster, and Vader is just a little bit more mid-range. And generally speaking, when you're in that matchup where you're playing ramp or mid-range decks, the deck that's just slightly bigger than the opponent, and what I mean by bigger is a little bit more value or a little bit more expensive cards or that type of nature of things, is going to be the one who's a little bit more favored. And you can see in that matchup, well, exactly what I meant. They even got the Krayt Dragon down before we did. And they had the Reinforcement Walker. Like, this was a pretty good draw. Of course, They did the Star Viper into Star Viper. I don't know if they should have played the second one. The first one was, they didn't know an interceptor, but the second one, they knew the ping was coming. So I don't know if that was necessarily something that I would have done. But everything else, pretty solid hand, and we ended up defeating it. So good first game. On to the next one. On to the next matchup, and it's a Grand Inquisitor blue. This seems like a reasonable hand against this deck. I have technically a turn 1 play. I could safely resource this Krayt Dragon and probably resource the resupply because we have a couple of nice solid plays after the price on your head. I can even ECL out the Dark Trooper. I think the only way this goes exceptionally wrong is if they play something and then they immediately security complex it and then they have a way to control my board afterwards. That could be pretty bad. But let's just go with the price on your head. And let's see if they decide to put a shield token on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to do that. Ooh, okay. The best card that we could probably draw here is like a 2 resource play. Didn't quite draw that, but that's okay. Yeah, we probably just resource one of these escort skiffs. And now I think I just want to open fire this guy because I'd rather keep the phase 3 Dark Trooper without, consuming my ECL right here off the bat. They have a really nice start though. Double Death Star Stormtrooper is a really aggressive start, and that's a start that is going to be tough to deal with for sure. They play a Warshear Tree Tender. Again, very good one for them because they are able to deal 2 damage to it. Hit me for 4, and now we are under a lot of pressure, right? This is a lot of pressure, and we need to make sure that we're able to hold on. So what would I like to draw here? Well, I mean, we have the ECL Escort Skiff, which is pretty nice. Traitorous. Now, that is an excellent one, and that is what I'm going to be going with right here and now, and I think this Star Viper can go away for now. But yeah, we're just going to Traitorous away the Warshear Tree Tender, and now they can attack in, but at least we get to kill their Death Star Stormtrooper. Traitorous kind of kills 2 birds, 1 stone, right? Kill both their units, which is really nice. Traitorous ended up being an excellent draw. The Escort Skiff would have been far weaker. We would have been able to kill the Stormtrooper and maybe eventually kill the Tree Tender, but we just need to not take as much damage here. Death Watch Loyalist, huh? Okay. Here, we're just going to go ahead and kill the Death Watch Loyalist. I could kill the Stormtrooper, but then they attack me for 5. So, we actually save more HP doing it this way. Claim initiative, and ooh, that's a timely intervention, which could be kind of interesting. But I think I like keeping all the other cards that we have in hand. And I'm just going to start off with a phase 3 Dark Trooper. I'm just going to go ahead and straight up play this. Don't need to ECL it out or anything like that. This is just going to give us a Sentinel, defend us. Again, our whole goal here is to get to a Vader flip and try to control the board after the Vader flip. And I think this backup of open fire is going to be huge here based on what they play. We're going to pass and see if they decide to ready up the clan challengers, because if they do, then we get to open fire it. So this open fire is going to be huge. If they take initiative here, that's not the worst. It's not great for us. But we at least get to flip over our Vader. All right, let's pass again. They have to make the choice of readying up clan challengers or not. They decided to ready it up, and we get to open fire it. Awesome. So it worked out perfectly, exactly how we wanted it to. It's a tough position for our opponent to be in, whether or not you should ready up the clan challengers or not. I think that they made the correct play there. Like, I don't think you just don't play or don't ready up the clan challengers because your opponent's passing. They obviously have something, but that's a tough spot for sure. I'm going to resource this escort skiff at this point because we have the super laser tech and a Vader coming down that could really prep us for the Devastator here. I'm going to ready Vader first up. The reason I'm doing this is if they decide to ready Chrysanthemum, then we get to kill it with Vader. If they don't, then we just get to kill it with Vader. So that's pretty nice. All right, Vader comes in. This is kind of putting on just an absolute show here. I'm going to get the silencer, and we are going to ambush. This is working out ideally for us. As I said, they ready up Chrysanthemum. We get to ambush with Vader, so it gets killed. And now we have an answer to if they decide to flip Grand Inquisitor. If they pass, then we will just take initiative because we have so much power in our hand. They're going to claim initiative, so we just get in a free attack here. And then we pass, and look at that. That's another Vader. So really, really strong couple of draws here. So we are definitely outpacing our opponent. What was really key is the double open fire, and that traitorous on that one turn was absolutely just insane. Let's go ahead and just attack with Vader here and deal 2 to the punishing one, just in case they decided to do some nonsense where they ready it up or whatever. This just prevents them from doing so, and we're going to kill it with the silencer afterwards anyways. Again, we're so far ahead. We have so much more value. There's not really something that our opponent can do in this spot. I played the Vader or the Inquisitor blue list here, and it's going to be pretty tough for them. We're just going to attack for 5. If they decide to play something in the ground arena, then, well, that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and hit their punishing one. Let's see if they decide to attack for 3 here. If they do, that's totally fine because that's not really that scary of something happening. I'm just going to play a new Vader. And we're going to see what we end up picking up. Ooh, it's a super laser tech. Awesome. And we will ambush, hit this guy for 5. A little bit awkward getting rid of our old Vader to play a new one, but I think we're super far ahead. And the only way we really lose is they play like a fallen lightsaber, and this prevents that from really doing anything. There's a Krayt Dragon. Of course, we could even play Devastator this turn if we were able to kill off the super laser tech, which is very likely because we can always kill it off with Vader itself. But also, we just have lethal on board, and there's not really a way that they can immediately do 12 to us. Like, that is an absurd amount of damage they can't really deal. Not sure what they could have. They could have like an Avenger, I suppose, but that's really not that great. Ooh, disabling Fang Fighter is, well, not that great in this spot. And now we still have lethal on board, so we're just going to go ahead and, figure our way through the matchup. They didn't use Security Complex there. I think they should have used it on like the Death Star Stormtrooper earlier on or something of that nature. Or even that turn where they decided to use Death Star Stormtrooper and kill my Phase 3 Dark Trooper. They could have used it there to try to protect it, and I probably still would not have open fired the Death Star Stormtrooper. So I think they should have used it earlier. Of course, they just didn't end up using it at all. We didn't use ECL either. I could have used it on the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. That was about the only real spot I could have used it, but that one would have been a little bit awkward because it's a Sentinel anyways. So that feels unnecessary, but I could have used it there if I wanted to. Regardless, it ended up working out perfectly, and it looks like this guy watches the video, so thank you. And this was a good match. On to the next one, and we got ourselves a mirror match in the next matchup. The cards I really want in this matchup: Ramp. I'm looking for Ramp. Super Laser Tech is the name of the game, and I know I'm only getting a pretty reasonable hand, but this is a lot more exciting. I'm going to go ahead and resource a Phase 3 Dark Trooper and actually a Darth Vader because Kylo Ren comes down at least a turn earlier, and that gives me a little bit more kind of autonomy in the game where I can choose to make my play a little bit earlier. Even though Vader is amazing, I definitely don't want to resource a Krayt Dragon in this matchup. But overall, pretty nice start here. They started with a TIE Fighter. Definitely not scared of that one. And there's a price on your head. Ooh, okay. I like that. I like price on your head. And I definitely like the super laser tech. If they decide to ECL out of super laser tech, I'm really not going to be that scared either. That's exactly what they decide to do. Let's go ahead and put a price on your head over on the TIE Fighter. And I mean, again, they've used up their ECL where we now have a Kylo Ren ECL if we choose to do so. So that's going to be really nice. They played a secondary TIE Fighter. Huh, kind of funny. In this spot, I actually think I do want to resource the Kylo Ren since I drew a secondary one. We're just going to play out a super laser tech, and we're going to deal 1 damage to their TIE Fighter and 1 damage to their base. And now we've essentially ramped as much as they have, while also having a super laser here. And we still have our ECL for something potentially a little bit better for us. Double TIE Fighter, though, a little bit more aggressive than maybe we expected, but overall pretty nice. There's a resupply. There's a Rancor. Yeah, I think we could probably get rid of the Rancor here, or the resupply rather. And I mean, we're going to be able to get down Vader this turn. We're going to have initiative, which means we can kill their Death Star Stormtrooper. And they seem to be playing a much more aggressive version of this deck. I wasn't really expecting that to be the case. They don't have ECL, so we are pretty safe to just get down a Vader here. And again, if they want to hit my Darth Vader, that's fine. I'm just going to kill their TIE Fighter. And now if they want to deploy their Vader, we can ECL out Kylo Ren, which ends up killing off their Vader. They're going to activate the Darth Vader here, deal damage to my Vader. We're going to pass again. If they... Oh, they're going to force choke here. Okay. Yeah, we're going to pass again. And they decided to deploy. That's fine. And we just get to knock out Vader immediately. That was amazing. Kylo Ren ended up being absolutely just amazing. But they had so many different options. Their hand was very, very cheap. I'm a little bit surprised at what just happened, to be honest. I would not have expected something like that to happen, but it did. So, I mean, you know, that does end up being the case sometimes. There is a consideration where they might have just wanted to go ahead and take initiative. It's a little bit sad to do so, but I think that would have been a reasonable play to make. Jabba's Rancor is going to come down now. It is a 9/9, is going to kill whatever they play. And I mean, now we are just so far ahead, because what we're going to do here is just immediately slam a Krayt Dragon, because if they have their own Krayt Dragon, we can then just kill them, right? That's the whole point. Krayt Dragon comes down, and we ended up just being in an amazing spot here. Let's see what they've got. They could have their own Krayt Dragon again, but if they do, doesn't matter. We just straight up hit them and kill their base. But even if they didn't, one of the reasons why I like Jabba's Rancor is because if they play a Krayt Dragon, Jabba's Rancor can just straight up trade into it. Am I recording? I am. Pretty interesting deck from our opponent, though. This is definitely a way different strategy than I went for. This is a lot more low to the ground, a lot more aggressive. I think in certain matchups, it is going to be a little bit better. And in some matchups like this one, because we're going just a little bit bigger than our opponents, it's pretty nice. Especially since, oh, look at that. They have the Krayt Dragon, which is exactly kind of what I expected. But if you're playing Krayt Dragons, I like the more mid-range style, playing those little bit bigger units and playing things like Escort Skiff, Star Vipers. I'm not sure what they're playing outside that. But I am not playing TIE Fighters, or I'm not playing Seasoned Shore Troopers, or Gamorrean Retainers, or even Force Choke. So a little bit different list, and well, looks like we ended up a little bit better off because of it. The Kylo Ren was the big one. Again, our opponent had a decision there. They could have taken initiative and just relied on their 4-3, which would have been a reasonable play to make, but it's also potentially a little bit risky, because I could just have a lot of expensive stuff in my hand. I could be, you know, kind of baiting them into not flipping their Vader, right? That's the trade-off, right? It's a little bit of a mind game, but overall, pretty nice game and decently close. Like, it wasn't a complete stomp, and they even had their Krayt Dragon, so we ended up playing around that perfectly. On to the next matchup against a Lando red deck, and Lando comes down early. Red is a little bit aggressive. I imagine this is a more aggressive deck, so I think this hand's pretty okay. I like the Star Viper. I like the Dark Trooper. I like Yularen. I like Open Fire. Traitorous could also be good. There is a choice I could make, which is, do I want to keep Star Viper and Dark Trooper, or I just want to take the Traitorous in case they go like Hot Shot Blaster or Jetpack? And because of that, I think we'll have the initiative. So the Star Viper is a little bit more appealing to me than the Dark Trooper. So I think I just go Yularen, Star Viper, and then hope that this Traitorous is, well, a really solid one. But Lando red, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're playing things like Arm to the Teeth, Jetpack, Hot Shot Blaster, those are pretty standard stuff to play. So seeing any of those would be not surprising at all. Leia Organa, huh? Okay, Leia Organa, not scary. That one I am not scared of. I thought this card was going to be a lot better in set one, and well, she just isn't really. It's okay, like later on in the game if you play it, but yeah. Oh, Infiltrator skill. Okay, sure. They're gonna pump up their Leia. We're just gonna go ahead and open fire it. I think is our plan here. I think I just want to get rid of that. Don't want to risk losing like a Yularen, some free HP, or do anything like that. I think open fire here is fine. They did not resource. Maybe they forgot to resource? I'm not sure what happened there. Okay. They're going to resource. I just assumed that they wanted to like do something crazy with Lando. But okay, they played a secondary Leia. Sure. That's funny. They're going to exhaust by Yularen. Okay, maybe they have another Infiltrator skill. If their whole hand is just like play Leia Infiltrator skill, play Leia Infiltrator skill, I think we are massively ahead. They said exhaust units. That was the selected mode. So I assume they meant to exhaust the Yularen. I am going to claim initiative as if they had exhausted my Yularen. Because that looks to be what they tried to do. Okay. Super laser tech looks awesome here. I think I will just kill their Leia Organa though. I don't really see a better play than that. Like, yeah, I could ECL the super laser tech, but that seems a little unnecessary when Yularen can just straight up kill her. So let's do that. Boom. This is going pretty nicely for us. I don't know if our opponent can really come back in this game at this point. It feels a little bit hard for them. They do have a Lando flip here, so that's going to be pretty nice. Just go ahead and get down a super laser technician. And they can flip Lando, which would be reasonable. If they do, I could always deal a damage to Lando and a damage to their base with my Vader action. If they take initiative, I'll just deal damage to K2. Cool, we'll just deal damage to K2. And we'll pass. Imperial Interceptor could be okay. I don't actually think we need all of these expensive stuff. I think it's totally fine to resource all of them. I think Vader's could totally do that job and be completely fine. They're going to go ahead and hit the base here. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm fine with just killing K2, getting a resource. Because Traitorous might be a card I want to play here. I'm hoping that we're going to not take too much damage, because if we get to 7 resources, the game is basically over. I'm a little bit surprised to not see them have flipped Lando last turn, to be honest. Okay, I claimed initiative, right? Player 1. Am I player 1? I actually don't remember. No, they killed my Yularen, so I don't have initiative, which means ECLing out the Star Viper doesn't actually do a whole lot. I think I'll just kill it with the Interceptor here. If I had initiative, I would have ECL'd out the Star Viper just for some, nice little value. Killing off the Rokai gunship is fine. They're going all base, which I think is the right way to go about things. I think that they're definitely losing the long game, so I think hitting the base is what they should be doing. So we'll see what ends up happening here. They could play Lando. It doesn't look like they smuggled out anything. I could be wrong about that. Okay, they're going to activate Lando here. Let's see if they decide to smuggle out. Okay, they're gonna put Lando out on the battlefield. Steal damage to Lando, and they're gonna attack probably after smuggling out like a hot shot blaster or something. That's what I would imagine. Usually you're not playing Lando without, that type of card in your deck. They're activating Lando. Oh, they're just attacking. Okay, if that's all they have to do, then this game is completely over. Like, super over. Rokai gunships, Leia's infiltrator skills. Don't know if there's like an insane amount of decision making here though. Ooh, Kylo Ren could be good. Yeah, I'll keep that around for their ECL, but I think we just Darth Vader here. I think that's just going to be a pretty straightforward play. Ideally, we get like a phase 3 Dark Trooper just so we have a Sentinel to really protect us. A Consortium Star Viper would be a nice one. We can't get Star Viper because it's not a villain unit. Super Laser Tech would be totally fine. Vader, Super Laser Tech seems reasonable to me. Ambush, kill Lando. And now we get to go and get down Vader. And then the following turn, we have ECL Kylo Ren, which could do some work. We also have, Star Viper to maybe restore some of this HP. But now we're really getting a full board control here. They have Enfys Nest. They are going to hit Vader. Cool. Going to deploy Vader. We'll kill Enfys Nest. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Again, I don't think that they can come back in this game. I think this game is completely over. Just waiting for our opponents to kind of make some moves. I like the silencer. I think I'm going to resource the Traitorous. I like holding on to the Traitorous for a while just in case something bad happens. Again, with like jetpacks and blasters, we're kind of playing around that. But here my options are I can go Overwhelming Barrage plus Star Viper, which is great. Kylo Ren plus Silencer, which is also great. Kylo Ren ECL'd specifically. So I think I want to keep the 2 double plays here. Although I heavily imagine that we aren't going to have too much to worry about here. Let's see what you got, opponent. Let's see what you got. I mean, they could smuggle out a lot of different things with Lando. Enfys Nest Part 2. All right. Doesn't really do anything. We can just kill it. Probably with Overwhelming Barrage, to be honest. I don't really see a reason to try to save it. All right, never mind. I'm just going to attack their base and kill Enfys Nest. No reason to trade off my Super Laser Attack. I can just kill them, right? Don't know what you could have, but maybe they could have something with like Smuggle. All right, and they left the game. All right. It's always sad when opponents do that. They play a little slower and then they just disconnected because they know they lost without saying anything. But yeah, I mean, as I said, the game kind of ended a lot earlier when they played like Leia into Infiltrator skill and then Leia into nothing. That was like brutal. They exhausted you, Lauren, after playing Leia, and it was just the game was kind of over at that point. But it was just kind of a matter of actually closing out the game. But yeah, pretty simplistic. And on to the next. On to the next matchup against Double Yellow Boba. And this is a matchup where I will probably just keep this hand and probably resource this Escort Skiff and one of the Price on Your Heads, and then just rely on Price on Your Head on turn 1 into open fire. The way this goes wrong is they could have something like Dr. Evazan. If they have Dr. Evazan, that could be a little bit sad. No, looks like they do. But there's not much we could do about that. Ideal would be... I'm trying to think of what we would like to see. Yularen's pretty good. Don't mind Yularen. Probably resource an Overwhelming Barrage. I don't like having too many events in hand because they could play a Bodhi Rook. and that would be pretty sad as well. It's kind of like a couple of sad scenarios for us. Let's play a Colonel Yularen here. See if they decide to kill it with Dr. Evazan. Ooh, they do. Interesting. I would not have done that if I was my opponent. Maybe they have like a Maklunki or something to bounce it to remove price in your head, or maybe they have another play to make, which would make some sense. But getting rid of that shield is risky because now what I'm able to do, oh, they have no other play. Yeah, if I was them, I probably would not have done that. I think in this spot, I just want to get rid of the Emperor Palpatine. But I would not have done that because now it opens up to anything ECL'd out. And we're on 4 resources, which means I would just be able to do that and ready up 12 resources, which is kind of what we're going to do here, right? I'm going to open fire. I'm going to be able to ramp. And then I'm playing an Imperial Interceptor and kill their Cartel Spacer. And we're going to be pretty nicely situated in this game. They can Cunning if they want, but Cunning doesn't really do much. If they hit my Imperial Interceptor, it'll be really unfortunate. That'd be a 33% chance for them. But outside of that, I mean, they're really in a bad spot here. We could even deal 1 damage with Vader, which is awesome because Dr. Evazan would ready, because we would claim this bounty first and then claim the Dr. Evazan's bounty, which is exactly what the game did for us. So pretty awesome. Frozen in Carbonite, not scary at all. Again, if I'm like the mid-range deck and I'm fighting the tempo Boba yellow player and I'm seeing them go like Frozen in Carbonite, I am ecstatic. That is exactly what I want to see. Now, the way we could struggle a decent amount is if they have like a Boba Fett's armor and they just go all in on Boba Fett. I think that could be a little bit tough for us, especially since our only play realistically this turn is like Imperial Interceptor or like Overwhelming Barrage, which if they deploy Boba, I mean, that would be pretty reasonable. Okay, they're going to Bosk. That's not bad. Yeah, we'll just kill Bosk. Just deal 5 fear. Whoa. That should have killed Bosk. That should have killed Bosk. That should have killed Bosk. I misclicked or something. I must have misclicked the Bosk. I thought I hit the little checkbox, but I must have missed the checkbox. Unfortunately for them, I mean, they can make a different play, but see if they Bosk again. I must have missed. That was my fault. I must have misclicked something. I don't know what I misclicked, but I meant to deal 5 to the Bosk, of course. All right. If they want to go with a different play, then that's fine because they don't want to lose their Bosk. I'll go with a different play too. I thought that we were just gonna go through the same actions, kind of. That's usually what ends up happening, but they're trying to play around the Overwhelming Barrage, and which I guess makes sense. I mean, I made the mistake, so it happens. It happens. Okay, they're gonna go ahead and ready up a Boba Fett. Let's go ahead and claim initiative here. And, ooh, double Darth Vader. That could be pretty nice. Let's go ahead and play a Vader. Get a phase 3 Dark Trooper. Ambush, hit Boba for 5. Doesn't kill Boba. But even if they have Boba Fett's armor, they're still in a pretty bad spot. All right, shoot first doesn't really do anything because we can just kill Boba Fett here. They're in a lot of trouble. Now, they can't have Bosk here, but it just ends up dying anyways to any of the units here. So they're in a pretty bad spot, and they're just kind of ignoring the Vader at this point, which is fine. At the end of the day, it ended up working out better for us, I would say, to keep the Overwhelming Barrage in hand. But yeah, I guess... I'm passing. Hello? Okay, there we go. That was a little bit bugged. Trader risking over the resource pile. We have another Vader. We have Overwhelming Barrage. This game's pretty much wrapped up. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised that our opponent decided to attack into the Dr. Evazan. That's what really swung the game open. Because if they didn't do that, think about what I would have had to do. Is I would have had to attack with Ularn, so that would have wasted my action. And then I would have had to open fire. They would have not gotten any additional damage. And at the end of the day, I could have done the same play. But, I mean, the way they ended up doing it was, well, a lot weaker. Oh. I think what I like doing is attacking into the base, hitting Dr. Evazan here. A new adventure, huh? What? No, that's not how a new adventure works. A new adventure is I play it for free. That's how that should work. So yeah, new adventure can work on like Dr. Evazan, but yeah, I guess sure, it is what it is. We'll just kill Dr. Evazan and then we'll just kill both their units with Vader. This game has gotten a little bit strange, huh? Let's make sure not to misclick this time. All right, they conceded. Yeah, GG. Yeah, new adventure. What this says is return a non-leader unit that costs 6 or less to its owner's hand, then its owner may play it for free. So this would return to my hand, and then I would replay it for free. New adventure does not work like that, where you get to just steal an opponent's unit. That would be insane. Can you imagine that? Anyways, kind of a weird game. I mean, if they had went with Bosk and then gone with the Boba Fett flip and attacked, that would have been a little bit different. We would have still done the Vader play where we got Dark Trooper and such. I think we still would have been massively ahead and we would not have lost, but it would have been a little bit different. So, you know, it is what it is. Our opponent would have had a Black Sun Starfighter, and we would have Imperial Intercepted it a little bit later. They might have gotten a little bit more damage in. I think they actually ended up a little bit disadvantaged because of what happened there. Regardless, that's going to be the next game. Let's move on to, well, the following one. And our next match was against Han Green. They're usually doing some ramping and getting high value plays out. And while this hand is okay, it's got a lot of top end, and I'm looking for a little bit more ramps. I'm hoping to find that. And this is a much better hand. We can probably resource a Stormtrooper and a Rancor, and then we get to keep all the ramp in our hand. And if they go like, I don't know, something that can really easily be killed, maybe we price on your head, more than likely we just go ahead and put our Death Star Stormtrooper out there on turn 1 and see what they end up doing. Spark of Rebellion, huh? Take my Stormtrooper. I am not scared at all of Spark of Rebellion on turn 1, but that's what they had. Star Viper, Dark Trooper. I think we could probably safely resource this Dark Trooper. Star Viper ends up being pretty valuable, I'd say, in a matchup like this, where they're not going to have a lot of early space units. And Dark Trooper, same stat line, and that can get some really nice restoration in if we keep the Star Viper around. Resource the Dark Trooper. They play a resupply. Let's go ahead and attack in. Play a Star Viper, pass. End up drawing the Dark Trooper anyways. I like the Escort Skiff. They can do their Han 7 resource, deal this turn, which would be nice for them. This price on your head's looking a little bit weak for sure, but I'm going to resource this Phase 3 Dark Trooper. I don't really see a reason as to keeping that around when we have the, clear 4 resource play to make. If they spark a rebellion here, then I'm totally, oh, they did. I am totally fine with that. Like, I am not scared of that at all. Oh, and look at that. They took the ramp anyways. So sure, I suppose. Really not scared. The thing that would be scary is if they had played U-wing reinforcements this game or this turn. That would be the scary thing. That would be the thing that I'd be very scared of. Just play an Escort Skiff. They're going to get down Han. We're going to go ahead and I don't know what they're going to do. We'll see. Wow. That is very strange to me as well. I would not have expected them to have gone ahead and hit my Escort Skiff. I feel like in that spot, you should probably make your opponent do that, where, if you are ahead on board and you are a little bit more of the aggressor in the scenario that we're looking at here, make me kind of hit your units instead of just letting me kind of trade, especially with a high value unit like Han, like the leader. I can understand if it was a weaker unit, but that's kind of the whole reason they did everything there. And now they're trying to kill my Star Viper and they play a Gamorrean Guards. Yeah, this is going really well for us. My last card in hand is going to be a Vader. Yeah, they could Spark a Rebellion it away, but we also have Vader flip. So we're really far ahead. There's the U-Wing reinforcements. This could be a really nice play for them. This is kind of like our U-Wing reinforcements versus theirs. They went triple Sentinel, huh? That's funny. Let's go ahead and get a super laser attack. Let's go ahead and ambush, hit the Gamorrean Guards. And the reason why we're going on Gamorrean Guards is it removes the other Sentinel here. We're just going to claim initiative here. The reason why I decided to claim initiative over doing something else is I don't really see a reason to trade my Vader off for what units they got going on over there. Interesting. Do I want to open fire? If I open fire, I can overwhelming barrage this turn. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable to me. Let's go ahead and just open fire the Gamorrean Guards. Hit their Echo Base Defender. Flip. Overwhelming barrage, kill both of these guys. 6-1. Attack in for 7. And then pass. Yeah, I mean, we are looking pretty good here. Don't think Yularen's going to be all that relevant. There's another U-Wing reinforcements. Okay, good card. We have an Emperor Palpatine to follow up that one. They've got a lot of Sentinels in their deck, huh? They had double Gamorrean Guards, Echo Base. They had the Han Solo follow-up, so pretty kind of good recovery. They played a double 7-drop, right? But they didn't do it early enough is the problem. And now we are in a spot where we're also playing big payoffs, big haymakers. Ooh, and we get to go Palpatine, kill both Sentinels again. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the Sentinels. They're going to spark a rebellion. Yeah, I think that they probably should have sparked a rebellion first and then U-Wing reinforcements. That was a little bit, I think, of a mistake in terms of sequencing there. Because they definitely should have done that when I only had one card in hand. But I mean, look at that. They had triple Spark Rebellion, double Echo Base, triple Gamorrean Guards. They basically played the same cards against us over and over again. But yeah, I mean, we weren't really under much threat there. Like, let's say they took our Emperor Palpatine. What we would have done is attacked, dealt to the Gamorrean Guards, right? And then they would have been in a spot where, okay, they kind of have to kill Vader, so we would have just drawn the next 2 cards of our deck, and we would have been in a situation where I have more resources than them, and we're both in a top deck battle, and I'm the one with Krayt Dragons, Rancors, Palpatines, and they have U-Wing reinforcements, Han, so we're definitely advantaged in that spot. Definitely not a surefire win by any means, but I think if they sequenced that a little bit differently, they would have been in a more advantaged position to where they actually had a chance in the game, whereas by doing that, they lost any chance that they might have had. Anyways, on to the next one. Our next matchup is against a Mando blue deck, and we have a pretty nice hand here. I think we could safely resource this Yularen and a Kylo Ren here, and we have a nice curve. Turn 1 Stormtrooper, turn 2 Super Laser Tech. We can use our Darth Vader action, or we don't have to. If they play something that we know can be upgraded and needs to be upgraded, then we don't use our action at all. That's a Grogu. And so in this spot, I actually do want to claim initiative because usually what's going to happen is, I think we can safely resource a Jabba's Rancor, is they're going to upgrade the Grogu. I wouldn't be surprised to put a Jedi lightsaber on it. And this way, my Stormtrooper actually just lives. And so if they put a Jedi lightsaber on this, we actually either save HP on our base or we save our Death Star Stormtrooper from just immediately dying. So that ends up being a lot more valuable. And now we could do things like, I don't know, ECL to super laser tech or play a bunch of other stuff. That's a Grogu. Yep, that is what I expected. Let's go ahead and play a super laser technician here. They're going to kill my Death Star Stormtrooper, so it's exactly what I had expected. Ooh, and that is a traitorous. So this is kind of interesting because I'm going to resource this escort skiff, but I'm going to hit their Grogu to get another resource so that I could traitorous the Grogu, which is kind of funny. Traitorous, guys. This is the matchup for it. Claim initiative, and look at that. Now we can just kill their Kanan straight up. And we could even ramp into our Vader if we want to. But yeah, I think we just attack the Kanan, and we don't even trade, I guess, because it's OP with a Jedi lightsaber. That is pretty sweet. I am not gonna lie. Yeah, why don't we just Imperial Interceptor? Let's just get all the value while we can. I don't really see a reason not to. Oh man, and they're gonna play a Yoda, which means we just kill it with Grogu again. It's so over. Like, I could play Kylo Ren, but like, this is just too much value. It's so brutal. And I'd rather keep the ECL Kylo for like a Mando or something, you know? And let's just go ahead and flip over Darth Vader. See what they decide to do. This Grogu has been so good for us. Ooh. I mean, it took so much damage from us, too. They played a devotion, huh? All right, let's hit their base. They claimed initiative. All right, we will just go ahead and play ourselves a Kylo Ren. It is fine. No huge value plays or anything like that with a Kylo, but you know, you can't always get everything. We have a timing intervention, but we're running out of like awesome plays to make. Like, we have this overwhelming barrage, which of course is awesome, but you know, we'll see if we end up getting there. Wow. All right. Let's give an experience token and +2/+1 to Grogu here with Kylo Ren. Pretty little sweet couple of options there. There's a Luke Skywalker, huh? All right, overwhelming barrage it is. Hit Luke for 7. Then we can follow up with a super laser tech. So let's just hit their base, play a super laser tech, and then pass. And here, I mean, I could keep the resupply in hand, but it's just going to end up as a resource anyway, so I'll just resource it. And we have a couple of plays to make. We can actually take advantage of basically all of our resources, even also with the time intervention. Although I think I want to keep that just in case we draw like a Krayt Dragon, or, well, I guess that's the end of the game. And I thought it would be. I mean, the beginning of the game was kind of absurd. As soon as I knew they were going to Jedi lightsaber, because that's kind of the only way you play with Grogu and you're happy about it. Like, you go Grogu to Jedi lightsaber. That's why I took initiative and set up for being able to kill it. And we were able to almost kill it if we wanted to use escort skiff and all that stuff. It would have been a lot tougher. But that traitorous draw changed the whole thing. And then it turned into, okay, the game is over. Right? Like, they didn't have a unit to upgrade, so they couldn't exhaust the Grogu. We had initiative, and anything that they did just got killed by the Grogu, right? That's kind of what the idea behind Grogu Jedi lightsaber is. Now, if we hadn't done that, the game would have been a lot more difficult. It would have been at least a game, right? I think we still probably would have ambushed the Mandalorian because they would have felt like they were safe, and then they could have, or we could have ambushed their Mandalorian with Kylo Ren. So there's probably a different way that the game would have gone, but at least they wouldn't have just gotten everything killed every turn and had 16 damage on their base and be completely overwhelmed. It would have been a lot harder of a game. But anyways, that's going to be the last game, guys. We ended up doing pretty well. Did we lose a game today? I think we lost one of them. I can't remember, though. But I'll go over my final thoughts and kind of what my game score record was at the end of the video. So Vader Green, the first thing I want to mention is this is a list that I've played over like 300 games with. Not this specific list, I should say. I've played, of course, a lot of set 1 as well. But like just within set 2, I've probably played over 300 games. And it's mainly because I just love Vader as a leader. I loved Vader Blue when that was a very popular meta deck, and I really love the Vader Green ramp. but I've gone through various iterations, and this is kind of the list I've settled on after a lot of iterations, based on kind of what I see in the meta. And every single card in here is pretty relevant, pretty important, kind of makes the deck function pretty well overall. The card that's probably the most underrated is actually the Imperial Interceptor. This is a card that maybe seems less exciting now that set 2 is out, but I've had very good experiences with it. Of course, there are situations where Imperial Interceptor ends up not doing too much because of the fact that, well, they don't play space units, or they play like, well, a lurking TIE Phantom, which is a little bit awkward, but it ends up doing a lot of work in other matchups. And for the matchups that it's not that good in, that's where Escort Skiff come in. That's where, you know, your Super Laser Techs, your Phase 3 Dark Troopers come in. And really, it's just all about ramping a little bit just till you get to the Vader. And then Vader's so powerful in of himself that if they don't deal with him immediately, you can immediately control the board. And that's why we also play the 3 copies of Vader, because he comes down with Vader at the same turn and just clears the board entirely. Kylo Ren saw his colors there, or you saw his true colors there in a couple of the games. I think we ended up getting that ECL Kylo where we just killed their leader straight up, and that's one of the reasons why I found him really nice in this deck. We saw Jabba's Rancor be pretty good, where we just killed a unit and then could end up killing the Krayt Dragon. We saw Krayt Dragon be extremely powerful. Overall, over the past at least like week or so, where I've played with this list in particular, like these exact numbers, I think I've played over like 60 games or so. Again, I don't remember exactly, but about 60 games of just this list in of itself. And I've probably won like 35, 36 or so over the course of that time. I've lost like, what, 14, 15 games. And that's because realistically, this list is extremely powerful. You saw against the Han Green ramp deck where our opponent had a really nice curve, and so did we. We both got our Krayt Dragons down. We both kind of did our thing, and we ended up in a spot where Vader Green ended up taking the cake, and that's because we had the Vader flip. Like, they got their Krayt Dragon a turn earlier than us, but because we had Vader, because we had like the Emperor Palpatine, and in some cases it could have been a Rancor or whatnot, we were able to kind of recover and finish out the game despite them getting a Krayt Dragon down just before we did. And that's really because of the Vader itself, right? That was the key purpose of Vader. If we had the Rancor instead of the Palpatine in that spot, we could have just traded our Vader and hit it with the Rancor trigger. So there were many different options that could have happened there, and that's mainly because we had Vader as our leader. That's the key concept, right? We also get Overwhelming Barrage and Darth Vader, the unit, and Jabba's Rancor and that type of stuff, which is all very good. We have a cheaper Super Laser Attack. All that type of stuff is obviously great. But overall, Vader Green, excellent deck, really powerful, and one of, if not the strongest Krayt Dragon users. Krayt Dragon is just a card that you're looking to ramp into basically every single game. And now that I remember, I think the one we lost to was the Palp deck. Was it not? I think it was the Palp deck. Or maybe we did end up winning that game. Now I can't remember. Anyways, that's going to be my final thoughts on Vader Green, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. That last matchup was pretty cool. Again, there's always that one game which shows the true colors of Traitorous and how powerful that card can be. My goodness, guys, if you haven't played Traitorous enough, you haven't seen the power of that card and what it could do to some decks. It just ends up completely winning the game sometimes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all for the next one.